Hello there, my name is Subhasis. Let's continue exactly from the place where we stopped in the previous video. In the previous video, we saw how using ZooKeeper, the indexer, distributed indexer could elect one of the instances master and then rest of the instances as workers. That's where we stopped. Let's continue with today's video. All right, so I'll again start the indexer components. So this is my first instance, right? And then it will be elected as a leader or master. Let me run my second instance and third instance. Okay, so 2 workers I have got running. Now we are ready to put the workload. Let's put a message in Kafka, which will be then picked up by the consumer. I mean, the master will consume that message and assign it to the workers. Worker will take that as a real-time indexing request and will index the document in Elasticsearch. We'll see this part, step by step today. Maybe we'll keep it small, and then in the next video we'll go to the actual application, right? So this is basically you're creating a student. So basically you're talking about a school management application, right? So we'll talk about the school management service and then how you're creating the student in the actual application, which will in turn put a message in the Kafka message bus, right? So that's how the dot will get connected, right? But today we'll directly operate in the so I've created a producer, Kafka console producer, and I'm going to post a message. So the message is nothing but I can explain tenant IDs. As I said, this is multi-tenanted. I'll slowly get into the multi-tenant part maybe in some subsequent video. But today, assume I'm passing tenant one has created a student. Object code is student. Operation type is create. It has created a new student, and then object ID, basically student ID is 1. So you only have to pass this message to Kafka, and then let's see what happens. You see, okay, immediately, what happened? There is a series of things that have happened. First thing is, okay, the master has got the message, and this is the message that we gave to Kafka. The master has kind of subscribed to the Kafka topic and it has got this message. Real-time indexer received this thing, right? And then you can see where the assignment path has happened. So worker 3 has got the work assigned to. And now if you see, this was my worker 3, okay? And this is worker 2. All right, so let's see. I mean, let me put one more message, right? So, before that, right? So if you come to console, Kibana console, and then you search, you can see the ID of the student was what 1, and the actual details of that student has been taken from the database. You didn't pass so many information about the sex, male, and then nationality, parent name, etc., etc. Those have been taken from the database, right? By querying using the student ID 1. All right, next time let's pass object ID as 2. I mean, you can pass any valid student ID. So ideally, it will be created in the actual school management service application, and those I know that will come as a message, right, to the Kafka. So let's again, put that message in the producer. And let's see which one. Oh, you saw that. So this time worker 2 has picked up. How do you know? Go to the master and you see. So it does, some sort of round robin or random allocation. So you can again, design that part whether you want to put round robin allocation, you want to put random allocation, you want to put some intelligent allocation like basically load balancer task. Okay. With this concept, you can implement load balancer also. All right. So now what is really happening, right? Let's go to process node again. And then if you see when the leader position, attempt for leader position, this method was called when any new instance of the indexer would join the cluster. The second one will go to worker mode, right? So that's where it will say, we saw this, right? ZooKeeper.watch node, watcher node path, and then perform worker role. This is where we want to drill down today. The perform worker role. So basically every worker will be performing the worker's role. Register as a worker, so we'll create a node and then create parent, okay, and then get task. So this is what I'm interested in, get task. Let's see what get task is doing. So it has a callback and it will also watch for new task, right? So new task watcher, if you see, it is looking at next level, yes, indexer assign worker. So if there is any path that is getting assigned to this particular worker, under this worker node, if any new node is being created, then I'm saying, do and get task, okay? And get task has a callback. So as soon as that event actually happens, right, you get a callback, call to this callback method, and then, okay, so it comes here. Ignore this first one. Basically, if you lost the connection, then you are making that call again, get task, right? So it will again come back to this, the parent flow that from where we came to here. And get task, okay, let's go back. Get task has this callback, and that's where we are, right? So we are, executing on a happy part. The connection to ZooKeeper is intact. The session is there, all good. And there, what you're doing is, okay, you got list of children, okay? And if children not equals null, executed or execute, so you're basically in a threadful executor. So the operation that you're going to do in the callback, you are not going to do in the main thread, right? You don't want to block the main thread. So you put it in a child thread and runnable. So you go to run method, right? Now, run method is where it will be coming to for the actual execution. Here we're saying dot init, assigned task cast dot add workers to cast. So, okay, so it will come to the init method. And then what you are interested in, the run method, right? This is where the call will come. And what it is doing, you're looking into status, fetch status is working. And then it is looking into all the children, all the child nodes that has been created under that particular worker, right? And there is a ZooKeeper.get data, false, and then there is a callback. Again, if you see that is basically what callback, say, right, data callback. So, and then this is the data callback. This is where the execution will come. Again, let's go to the happy path. Okay. And this one again is invoking a second thread. In this, what it is doing, it is getting in the run method, it is getting the actual JSON object that is persisted in that node, right? So you're getting the deserialized back from the ZooKeeper node. So the ZooKeeper node was holding the data, right? And that data, when you do a create task, right? When the master actually creates the task, I think I'll close the loop by showing that as well. So when you post the message to Kafka, master has subscribed, right? So it got that message, right? You saw that message. Let me put one more time and then it'll be easy to explain. I just change the object ID and that's all. So I'll put this time 3. And let's master print that message. So you see, assignment path, task, 003. I mean, by now this is gone, but had it been there, right? So now it will be gone because it has been already taken by this is what worker three. So this node has already executed that, and once it is executed, like I showed yesterday, it's an ephemeral node, right? So the moment you're done, yeah, you're basically deleting explicitly that because the task has been successfully executed. You don't want to retain that anymore, right? It's not to be executed once again. So that's pretty much it. Like worker 3 has executed, and you can validate that if you have got that or not. So you have indexed 3 students so far. And this was the third one. All right, so let's go back to code one more time. What it is doing, it is getting the data object from that particular assigned task node, and that dictionary is back to JSON object, and then it's saying invoke near real-time indexing on the payload, on that payload, right? And this again, I've showed you this in a previous video. It's doing nothing but creating that request for Elasticsearch, and then it is giving to index. As we'll, in some other videos, we'll drill down how the indexing is happening into Elasticsearch. Okay. Now, what happened to the master node, right? A master node created the actual task. So again, go back to this, attempt for leader position, and then you say perform leader role. In the leader role, so this time we're using Kafka, right? So in the Kafka, in the subscribed message that it has got from the topic, this is that one message equals to recorded value, and then you constructed the JSON object, and then you say create task. And in the create task, what it is doing, that JSON object is set as a task into the task object. Task object is from this is the task object, which is holding the actual data, the payload, because that is important, right? Well, before you give it to Elasticsearch for indexing. I'll keep it short today. In the next video, I'll show you the service application, and in this we will create students, and that while creating the student, will modify the code to ensure it produces that message into Kafka bus, and that's where you don't have to manually create that message in Kafka, right? So what we explicitly produced here is one. This will have, right? All these things will be done by the student creation service itself. That will post this message to Kafka. Okay, so let's cover that in the next video. All right, thanks for watching.